Hey everybody, welcome to another coaster modification tutorial. In this video, we're going to be running through some modification options to the huge suspended swinging coaster called Force 9, otherwise known as Hurricane if you are playing the newer versions of the game. It is in the well-known scenario called Ivory Towers, one of the original RCT scenarios. I will be referring to it as Force 9 during the course of this video. The stats for this coaster in its original form are absolutely crazy, well over 9 in the intensity and nausea ratings. Whilst a nausea rating over 9 isn't terrible, it will turn guests with low and even medium nausea tolerances away, leaving only guests with a high nausea tolerance, as well as a high intensity preference, being willing to ride it. In this tutorial, I will run through 6 different options to reduce the intensity and nausea ratings, whilst maintaining the excitement rating. Although reducing the intensity and nausea ratings will reduce the amount of money you can charge for a ride, as all stats contribute to the ride ticket price, far more guests will be willing to ride it, which will well and truly make up for it. I will also summarize the total costs, including landscaping, and improvement to the stats for each option at the end of the video. The first thing to do when the stats of a ride are too high is deduce why. Looking out for high lateral and vertical G-forces in the stats tab is the first place you should look. One of the main reasons the intensity and nausea is so high in Force 9 is actually quite simple. It's that tight 2x2 turn just before the last drop before the second lift hill. You can use the lateral G's plot to see that it produces the highest lateral G force of the ride at 2.88 G. The YouTuber Marcel Voss has several great videos discussing this, but basically, rides with over 2.8 of lateral G's gets an intensity rating boost, which is exactly what's happening here. Now for the modification options. Option 1. Reduce the number of cars per train to 2. The easiest and cheapest of the options, as it doesn't cost a cent. Trains with less cars lose speed faster than longer trains, so by the time the shorter train reaches the 2x2 turn, it's travelling at a much lower speed than the longer train, reducing the max lateral G value from 2.88 G to 2.53 G, significantly reducing intensity and nausea ratings. This option also has the benefit of providing better guest throughput, as there are more cars that come more frequently. Option 2. Replace the tight 2x2 turn with a medium 3x3 turn. This is also quite a quick and easy solution, and only has a total cost of $178 including landscaping. Even with the longer train, it reduces the lateral G significantly. This option also has the advantage of higher excitement rating over option 1. Option 3. Reduce the height of the lift hill by 3 vertical spaces. This option changes the whole dynamic of the ride. The smaller lift hill reduces the overall speed of the ride, which also reduces the lateral G's at the tight 2x2 turn. This option probably has the best overall improvement thus far, with the excitement rating almost identical and the largest reduction in the intensity and nausea ratings. This option also only costs $130 to implement. Option 4. A combination of option 2 and 3. This ties in the 2 changes of the reduced lift hill height and changing the tight 2x2 turn to a medium turn. It has the same excitement rating as option 3, but has an even further reduction in the intensity and nausea rating. This option is the sum of option 2 and 3, so comes at a cost of $308, which is still quite cheap. The 4 options discussed so far are a good idea at the very start of the scenario when the guest count is low and when money should be prioritized elsewhere in the park. Option 5. Combination of option 3 and replacing the final third of the track with an underground section. This is by far the most elaborate and expensive solution so far, coming at a cost of over $2,500. This option replaces the final drop over the water and the secondary lift hill and small drop into the station. The first reason I like this option is the look of the additional helix element over the water. It's somewhat of a mirror image of the earlier one, and I think is a welcome addition to the circuit. The other reason is the increased practicality. The original design took up a lot of the hill with the second chain lift. That space has now become available for additional rides. The requirement for the second chain lift has also been eliminated, as we aren't required to go above the hill anymore. This option does bump up the nausea rating back up a little to 7.89, but it still has vastly improved stats over the original design. Option 6. Option 5 with all steep slopes removed. This option takes option 5 to another level, and replaces all steep slopes with either medium slopes or helixes. This results in replacing the first drop and turn, first climb and following turn, and the steep drop underground. The first reason I like including this change is mostly aesthetics. I like the look of the cars swinging around more corners than before over the steep track. The second reason is that it reduces positive and negative vertical g-forces, helping reduce the intensity and nausea ratings even further. On top of this, a further change I would suggest is reducing the car count to 6 cars per train. This enables 2 trains to fit on the track, increasing guest throughput dramatically, whilst having minimal impact on the stats. As discussed at the start of the video, here is a summary table comparing the ride stats and costs for all options discussed in the video. Cells highlighted green denote an improvement in a stat, whilst red denotes the opposite. Note that a reduction in intensity and nausea is deemed to be an improvement to the stats and is therefore highlighted in green. I would recommend implementing any of options 1 through 4 at the very start of the scenario, as they offer the best bang for your buck. Options 5 and 6 are a bit more complicated and costly, and shift the focus more to the aesthetics and realism of the coaster, whilst also improving the stats. These should only be considered once the park is up and running smoothly and you have a few other profitable rides going. Thank you all very much for watching. Even if you've already finished this park, I hope you got something out of it and can implement some of these ideas in your other coaster designs. Cheers!